I'm going to kick off this episode with a question that I want you to consider for yourself. And that question is this. What if the thing you love most in your business, or one of the things that you love most in your business, is the very thing keeping you from everything that you say that you want? I had to face that question head on and ultimately make a decision that terrifies me. I decided to kill off a multi-six-figure revenue stream in my business, not because it was failing, not because I was bored, not because it wasn't good in so many different ways, but because of what it was costing me in the long term. In this episode, I am sharing why I let go of, quote, good money, how I stared down both worst case scenarios, and then the surprising awareness that finally made the leap feel almost easy. Let's get into it. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Whew. What a past couple weeks it has been in the making of this decision. Actually, it's been a couple of months. Actually, it could probably be several months now that I've been weighing this decision. I've had, and I think this is how it works. You get these moments of clarity. You get these ideas, and they'll come to you at different times. And I've noticed they'll come to me usually in two different scenarios. They'll come to me when I'm feeling really expanded and I'm really connected to my full potential. I'll get these ideas of like, hey, you're no longer a match for this thing. Or, hey, you're now a match for this thing. Like, it's time to take the leap. It's time to make that bold move. And then I'll also have these moments during periods of frustration. This deep knowing of like, this isn't it. We don't need to be doing this anymore. Why are we've outgrown this situation. And I've had, related to my masterminds, what I ultimately, that spoiler, if you haven't heard, that was ultimately the decision that I made. I decided that effective January 1, 2026, or really when my masterminds are complete this year, which will be at the end of the year in 2025, I'm complete with masterminds. I will no longer be hosting masterminds as a part of my business. Now, this is a huge decision for me for a few different reasons, which is why I sat with it for so long. Because like I said in the introduction, I'm not bored of them. I believe in masterminds. I love them. I love the women that I get to mentor there. In so many ways, these masterminds fulfill me to my core. The level of conversations that we have in there, the level of support that I get to offer, feeling like I have a true hand in the growth of somebody's business and life is, you can't even put words to it, truly. And then the money aspect as well. This is currently my biggest revenue stream. Truly multi-six figures of my revenue comes from my masterminds. I have 2 active masterminds right now. I have Rare Mastermind and X Mastermind. And it's nothing to scoff at, right? It's nothing to take lightly. So I've been sitting with this for a while because it's almost as if I doubted my own knowing around it. It was like, well, that doesn't even make logical sense. Logically, if it makes me happy and it's making me money and it's working, why is this even coming up for me? That doesn't make sense. But what I've learned is that's usually how these things go. Usually the best ideas, the best moves, the craziest of bold leaps. That's why they're called a bold leap, is because logically they're not going to make sense. And ultimately, why I ended up making this decision is because, yeah, it was good. It was so good. The fulfillment, the revenue, it was all so good. But it wasn't great because of what it was ultimately costing me, which was so much energy, so much time, so much focus. The way that I do masterminds and the way that I believe in doing them is they're very hands-on. It's my favorite way to run a mastermind. That's what feels the best for me. That's my favorite way to be in a mastermind. That's my favorite way to run masterminds. And I know this because I've ran every type of mastermind that you can imagine with every type of support. And it's not that the other ways work. And when I say other ways, I mean maybe masterminds with a bit less support, right? Like maybe they do less support during the week, or they don't offer Voxer or, messaging or something like that. And, maybe there's a lot more time boundaries there. I've done those. I've offered them. I've been in them. But I've been doing masterminds in the way that I offer them now for so long because, again, I believe in this level of mentorship, and it's my favorite way to do it because I know that it works. And if I'm going to do it, I want it to work for me and for my members. And what that looks like is lots of hands-on, right? You get X amount of private calls. We have weekly calls together as a group. For Rare, we have 2 calls a month for X, and messaging in between Mondays through Thursdays. Like I said, private calls. And I'm holding, over 10 women through this, sometimes more in different seasons. And that's a lot. That's a lot of energy to hold, right? Like I have my hands in over 10 different businesses. I am holding over 10 different lives, the duality of 10 different women running businesses, and many of them mothers or hope, maybe they're trying to become mothers, or whatever. Like everybody's life is different. And part of this level of mastermind is you walk through it all with them. And that's why it's so rewarding and fulfilling. But it's also why it wasn't great, because what I noticed, and I've known this, is it largely distracted and took away from the things that I know that I want to be working on, the things that I know that I need to be doing. And there are some seasons where I'm really good at managing both, right? Where I can be really, really strict in managing my time. And that looks like, on Mondays, I record podcasts and, I do coaching on these days. But life isn't perfect, right? And every week looks different. Like every single week of my life looks different. There's going to be something going on with the nanny. There's going to be something going on with one of the boys. There's going to be some school starting, some camp starting. Chris is traveling all the time. So I'm constantly working around his schedule, or I'm traveling and he's working around my schedule. We have family things going on, right? Not to mention just life in general. Like all of us live these very dynamic lives. So it was, in theory, a nice thought to think, okay, I can do both. I can pursue my ultimate business goal and dream, which is to become the #1 business podcast on the planet. That's like my #1, right? I can pursue that and do the things that I need to do in tandem with hosting and walking beside these women at this capacity. And I did it for a long time. But the cost was getting to me, and it was a lot. And you realize that there is such a difference between good money and great money. And I don't mean quantities. That doesn't mean quantity. That means the type of money that is coming into your business. I was making large amounts of good money. Money that I worked, what I consider I worked hard for. I earned that money, right? Every single dollar that came in through those masterminds, I earned, damn it. I earned that money and it's good. But I am now interested in playing in a world where I create and receive great money, which looks like I give great value, the best value, top-notch value in a more scaled way and earn from that. Not necessarily tap dancing on the internet for. There might be some of that. But in a more scaled receiving way. To me, that is great money. Money that is earned based on my pursuit and bringing to fruition ultimately what I want, which is becoming the #1 business podcast on the planet. Okay. So what I realize, and I've been talking to my clients about this and this is where it gets a little confusing. And this is where we really have to be wise, adept business owners and make some hard decisions sometimes, because good money often is more money in the short term than great money. Often good money is the low-hanging fruit. It's the easier things you can do. And I'm not saying that running a mastermind is easy. I'm not saying filling a mastermind is easy. But I'm saying, and everybody's business is different. So there are some people out there where they're making great money or maybe what they consider good money in their podcast, but they want to be hosting masterminds and they want to be doing what I was doing. And that would be great money to them. And they haven't mastered that, right? So like where it gets confusing is the thing, and what it boils down to is this: what you focus on grows, right? So yes, my masterminds are a multi-6-figure revenue stream, which is phenomenal, but that doesn't mean my podcast can't be that. That doesn't mean my membership can't be that, which we're going to keep. And I'll talk to you about that and why I made that decision too. My masterminds are creating such good money right now because that's where I've been focusing all of my energy, because I've had to. Because if you're going to have a mastermind, you need to have women in the mastermind. And if I'm going to be running a mastermind until the end of the year, well, damn it, let's get more people in the mastermind because I'm already doing it. That makes sense. So I'm talking about it more. I'm spending more time in there. I've talked about and promoted and spent more effort flowing people into my mastermind than my membership, than creating content and flowing people to the podcast. Thus, it's generating more money. And I know that. It's really that simple. 1 + 1 is 2 in that regard, right? Like it really is that basic. And I know that. So good money is often more money in the short term than great money, because that's what you're focusing on, because that's what you've mastered in the moment. But if what you ultimately want to master isn't that, you got to be willing to put that down. You either have to be really good at balancing both, and sometimes you have to, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's you got to do what you got to do. And then sometimes it's time to make the leap and go all in. And I've just known I have to. It's time to go all in. It's what I preach. It's what I'm known for. It's what this freaking podcast is titled. It's what my membership is titled. If anybody is going to be willing to go all in, it has to be me. Otherwise, what am I doing? So I've been going back and forth on this decision. And what ultimately helped me to make this leap, the way I look at this is I looked at both monsters under the bed, okay? And I wrote an email about this, and I really like how I explain this because it's very true. Like it's such a good illustration of this. And I like this a lot because I said I looked at both monsters under the bed. I think the reason why so many people don't make the moves that they want to make or that they know they should make, because they only look at one monster under the bed. There's two. Okay, so let me explain what that means. So when you're going to make a move, like a big leap, a big decision, you look at you're so scared to move, right? You're so scared to move because of the worst case scenario. That's why you're not moving yet. Because of the dreaded what ifs, right? What if it doesn't happen? What if I regret this? What if this goes terribly wrong? What if blah, 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 blah. That's the monster under the bed, right? I remember so I was born in Connecticut. Fun fact, I was born in Connecticut. And my family moved down to a town in Tennessee, a city in Tennessee. It's more of a town in Tennessee called Crossville, Tennessee. That's the first place we lived in Tennessee because my grandparents were living there. And we rented a house when we first moved here that was 1,000,000% haunted. Okay. Literally, I kid you not. One night I woke up and I opened my eyes and there was a man sitting at the foot of my bed looking out my window that was beside my bed. He was just sitting at the foot and he was looking outside the window. And I remember he was wearing a tweed looking blazer that had the suede patches, like round suede patches on the elbows. Okay. And he was just looking out the window. And I saw this man and I froze, right? Like, oh my God. How old was I at the time? 5 or 6. I remember exactly what I saw. And I slowly, I didn't scream. I didn't run out the room because I was so afraid what would happen. And I just slowly got underneath the covers and I just laid there and I was froze and I was so scared to even breathe because I didn't want to draw any attention. And I just prayed to God, please, God, make him go away. Please, please just make him go away. And I guess I fell asleep because I stayed like that for so long. I fell asleep and I never saw him again. All right. My point in sharing that is after that, I had these fears of, when you hear as a little kid that there's a monster under the bed, right? Like people joke about this, there's stories about this. And I noticed anytime I would be afraid of the guy or, there was a monster or whatever, I would freeze and you would just stay still and you wouldn't move. And this is often how it works with so many of us in business, right? These dreaded what ifs become these elusive, mysterious monsters under the bed where we're not even really fully looking at it. We're just assuming it is this disgusting, terrifying, insidious, evil thing that's waiting to eat us alive. So you don't move. If you move, you die type situation. That's the monster under the bed. Okay, so we're really good at looking at monster number 1. That's the most obvious one to look at is monster number 1. What, I want to make this leap, but what if? Those are those monsters, okay? But what we fail to look at and what we fail to take into consideration at the same time is the second monster that's also there. There's more than one. And the second monster are the dreaded what ifs of it if you don't make the move. The second monster is the dreaded what ifs and worst case scenarios if you don't make the leap. Okay? Now, side note, what we also don't look at are the best case scenarios. And I've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, right? If you're going to look at the worst case scenarios, bitch, you better slow down and look at the best case scenarios too, because both are possible. But if you only focus on the worst case scenarios and you never consider, wait, what also could go amazingly right here? What if this actually works out? What if this not only works out, but works out better than I could ever anticipate? We have to take those into consideration too. But for now, we're looking at the monsters under the bed. Okay. So we have the dreaded what ifs of if I make the leap and it fails. But then we also have the dreaded what ifs of if I don't leap, if I stay doing exactly what I'm doing now. What are the worst case scenarios there? Okay. Now we have 2 monsters. What do we do with these 2 monsters? We don't stay frozen. We realize I'm not 5 years old anymore. I'm a grown-ass woman and my job is to move, okay? Whether I choose to move forward or whether I choose to move exactly where I am moving. What I won't do is continue to hide under a perpetual or under a illusion of a cover and pretend that I'm safe and call that running a business. We're not doing that anymore. Okay? So now we're going to look at these fucking monsters. That's what we're going to do. You are going to lift up your proverbial bed cover and you're going to pop your head underneath that bed and you're going to look at that bitch in the face. And you're going to say, what are you? Who are you? What are you? And what am I so afraid of? Okay? Here is what I realized when I looked at both of these bitch ass monsters in the face. Okay? First of all, here's what I realized. Number one, both of these monsters are ugly as hell. Okay. Neither one of them are cute. All right. They're pretty gross. But there are differences between the two. And this is what's key. And this is what ultimately helped me make this leap way easier. It was so obvious after I did this. Monster number one, worst case scenario, if I make the leap and the leap doesn't go as planned, I realize, you know what? I don't love that. Like, I don't want to regret the decision. I don't want to fail at this move, but I can handle that. I can take that monster. Like, I don't want to. That would kind of be annoying. It would be a headache. But like at this point in my business, I can handle that. I can handle failure. I eat failure every month, like as a snack at this point. Okay. Like what is failure? Failure is proof that I'm living, that I'm taking risks. That's actually a good sign to me. Okay. So like I can handle some failure. I can handle a little bit of disappointment. I can handle that. I can handle a little bit of, oh, maybe I did that a little soon. I could handle maybe even changing my mind. Really don't want to do that, but can I handle it? Duh. Of course I can. Done it before. Okay, so that's monster number one. Look her in the face. She's ugly. She's not ideal, but I can take her. Now, monster number two. Monster number two. No. No. Here is what is so crazy about monster number two. Okay, I said both were ugly. I lied about that. Monster number one was ugly. Monster number two, she was a special kind of evil. Monster number two. And the reason why is because upon first glance, she didn't look ugly at all. As a matter of fact, she looked decent. She looked nice. She looked livable. Like she was so bad. I could be cool with her. Why was I afraid of her? Monster number two looks like my life right now, actually. Pretty damn good. But upon further review, I realized that all of monster number two is an illusion. She is a bold-faced lie. Because I know for sure that if I was facing monster number two a year from now or 6 months from now, aka living exactly what I'm living right now, I wouldn't be okay with that. That would feel like death to me. The level of disappointment that I would feel, not with the situation, it's a good situation, but the level of disappointment I would feel with myself, knowing that I didn't have the courage to make the move that I know in my heart and soul I needed to make, would kill me. Knowing that I didn't have the audacity, the faith in God, in myself, in the universe, in my dreams, in my potential, to do the thing here's the biggie, that I would tell you to do, that I would tell my clients to do. To know that I failed my own clients. I wouldn't walk my talk, would kill me. I'd shut down my business. Like, who the hell do I think I am? I'm going to sit here with a podcast called All In with Allie and dip a fucking toe. I'm going to tell my clients and mentor them to move boldly and courageously toward their potential, toward what's available to them before seeing it made manifest, but I'm not willing to do it myself. That is a pretty bitch, but she is ugly inside. She is evil. That is darkness right there under that bed. So I had this awareness like, whoa. And you won't even, unless you're willing to really look at it like that and really look at that monster under the bed, not just the face value illusion, but what it really is under the surface, you take it for face value. You're like, oh, that's not so bad. I'll take the good. I'll take the good. I'll take the good. I can handle disappointment. I can handle failure because at the end of that, at least I went for something. At least I tried. Again, not ideal. I'm not glamorizing failure. I'm saying, but at least I tried and I stood for something. I cannot take not moving out of fear and accepting more of good because I fear the potential failure of going for great. Absolutely not. Not on my watch. So when I finally realized that, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it made it so much easier. This felt so heavy. And then I thought of it like that. Thank God. I don't even know how I came to that. But God. And I was like, oh, easy. Done. And I woke up one morning still wrestling with this. And by the end of the day, I had already announced it to my mastermind and I had done a live announcing it. Okay. Oh, okay. That's easy. Done. Announce it. Move on with your life. And the weight that was lifted and the energy that was released, we don't realize how much energy we are holding by staying still, by staying frozen. You think it's safe staying still? You think it's okay and good for you living in fear of the dreaded monster number one? You can take her. It's costing you. It's costing you your peace. It's costing you your energy. It's costing you your integrity, some of you. But more importantly, it is costing you the potential that is waiting for you on the other side of that leap. Meeting yourself on the other side of courage and boldness and audacity. I'm a new woman. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that this is what I do and that I've lived enough business. I have enough business experience. I have enough life experience. I've had enough mentorship and I've mentored enough women to be able to come to the conclusion that I have and be able to share this with you today. So moving forward, this is the vibe. Now I am not coaching anymore because this is where I get all my ideas. What am I going to talk about? I'm still growing a business, right? I'm still, and my whole thing is helping women grow businesses. So, and I've thought a lot about that too. Like, do I just not coach anymore? But that doesn't feel right. I think maybe, no, I know for sure one day we will get there. Where it will not make sense to coach anymore, or maybe in a very, very specific capacity. But to me, it makes sense to go all in on the all in aspects of my brand, which the podcast, obviously, All In with Allie membership. That's where I will predominantly be doing my coaching. And then I will be continuing to offer very limited private coaching opportunities because I have current long-term private clients that I know the energy that it takes. I know, and I want to continue doing that. And for the right person, for the very, very right person, that makes sense. And that doesn't take too much energy, and that feels aligned for now. So I'll be continuing to work with a couple of people privately, and then all of my business focus goes to the membership. All of my coaching goes to the membership. We're going to be doing some upgrades there, which I'm really excited about. And then all of my energy and reflections and time that I have now will be spent recording these episodes and bringing on more incredible women with incredible stories and incredible wisdoms to support all of us in creating the life and business of our dreams, which is why we are here. So thank you for being here. For all of you who have supported me thus far, I cannot tell you what that means to me. If you want to support me and my business in any way, I will tell you how to do that because I will need it. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be interesting. And I am open to all of the miracles. I'm open to all of the best case scenarios. But if you enjoy learning from me, if you enjoy this podcast, engaging on YouTube, subscribing on YouTube, and we'll link it below, would be everything. Sharing episodes on with your friends on your Instagram, tagging the pages, following me on at Allie Reeves, following me on All In with Allie podcast. I'll link all those below. All podcast platforms, wherever you listen, following, liking, leaving 5-star reviews would be everything. Things that would take you probably 2 minutes. I don't think you realize how valuable and how much help that is for the creators that you love in this space. It really does add up and it really helps. And before it didn't matter that much because I had, all of this other revenue and it was like, woo, I'll do both. But now it really all adds up and it really matters. So I will ask that of you, that if you enjoy this, please support in any way. And if you want coaching and you want consistent coaching, check out the membership. It's good now. It's about to be great, great, great. Because again, that's where all of my energy and coaching is going to be funneled into. We might add on more calls. We're going to see as more people join, we'll definitely be adding on more calls. And I have lots of ideas, which I'm not going to share just yet, but join now because the price might be increasing with the changes. And if you come in now, you're locked in. All right. So thank you so much for listening. I love y'all. I'm so excited. I don't know what's on the other side of this leap, but I'm fully committed to it and I'm open to it all. So I will continue to, of course, share with you every step of the way. I love you, and I will see you here next week. Bye.